Welcome back to another episode. Alright, so things are counting down. Alright, so let me go ahead and just fill you in on what's going on. Putting the pod lights in, putting the light controller in, and also putting the inverter in. And I have these three massive, well, out of at least two of them are pretty massive projects. So let's just get right into it because I don't have a lot of time. Heater buddy going on to warm up the inside of the truck so that way I don't have to run the truck. So I'm going to test fit the inverter to make sure that it fits in the panel where I want it to go. So let's go ahead, pull out the inverter and pull out the little access hatch that's up here. Alright, so I took out the bracket that was over here that was holding the jack. That is the backing of that spot right there, which is where I want to have access for the inverter. So the idea is to cut this area out so that way I have access to the front of the inverter plugs and also for the two plugs, and also read the dial. Alright, so an update of what's going on. Okay, so as you can see, I ran the 0 gauge wire to where I wanted in the wheel well. I also, for future projects, running these are 14 gauge wires, just in case if I want any wires for rear lights or anything in the back end, and having some toggle switches in the front. Since I already have this all apart, might as well do it. If I don't use it, it's still here. Anyway, so ran it into the carpet, down along the side over here. Keep going underneath the carpet. I had all these panels removed. Just following underneath the carpet over there and to the footwell. So you can see what I'm talking about right there. So kept on going. As you can see, I'm not done with the molding yet, and running it right here. So these 4 wires, I'm going to roll it up and tuck it up underneath, and I have the 0 gauge wire going right through the firewall and going up into the engine bay. Right now I'm putting all the plastic panels back together, making sure that it fits.
Next level. Next level.
Let's start talking about the pod lights. Right there in the back, you can see that there's 2 bolts right there, and then underneath, if I can get the light, there's a 3rd bolt, and you can see just the black piece right there is actually the aluminum plate. So I started off with a 4x4 by 1/4 inch plate, and then I stuck it in there, and I had to trim it just to get it fit. And let me go underneath the truck and show you how I did it. Alright, so as you can see, I kind of made a funky design. That's because of, you can see on the bottom there, how the housing is for the fog light. So I just wanted to make sure that this aluminum plate was actually fitting inside perfectly. And then after I used the 3 bolts there to hold in the plate, at the same time I can actually unbolt or bolt either the top or the bottom or left or right one to actually aim the light the way I want it to. Then the center bolt there is the actual bolt for the bracket of the fog light. And then for the plug itself, as you can see on the top, I use the 3-point harness over here, waterproof harness. I use the factory to come in. The red wire is actually for the amber lights. I ran that into the loom or into the same plastic channel as the factory light, ran that all the way up through in front of the grill, between the behind the headlight, and into the engine compartment. So the way I decided to mount this was actually on top of the fuse panel box. So how I made sure that this was still going to be sealed was, I'll give this one as an example. This is all stainless steel hardware for the fuse box and also over here as well. What I did was I ran the bolt right through. I used a really narrow or thin washer, nut. Same thing over here underneath. to hold the bolt. And then I put the actual unit, which in this case is the fuse, but in that case the actual control panel or the switch system. And then I used some more nuts to secure it. So if I decided that I need to get into here, what I can do is I'll just remove this one bolt or this one nut, one on this side, one on the other side, and then I can pull this out and I don't have to worry about this stud or the bolt actually falling through. On top of that, what I did was I used marine silicone to make sure that the holes were sealed both here and there, so that way there is no water. If any water comes on top of here, water doesn't drip down into the fuse panel over here. So then I ran the main battery wires over here up inside, as you can see, to where it needs to go, and also then the pod lights as well. This one over here is actually for the LED light bar. Yeah, that's right. Oh wow, just noticed that that light is out. Wonder why. That's kind of annoying. Anyways, the switch panel, it's up. So I got the switch panel put up here. The way I mounted it was actually just use Gorilla double-sided sticky tape. That's up there. Then the wire runs up inside here, all along in here, along the liner, down the A-pillar, and then down through the this side of the dashboard, and then through the firewall, and then hooked up to the circuit board. Now, here's what's really cool. There is the factory fog light right there. So if I go like, sorry about the camera going sideways, I want to show you guys. So if I want the fog lights, just the fog lights, the white ones, there you go. That's hooked up to the factory fog light switch. And then let's say I want the amber. The amber is right here where it says amber, focus, right here where it says amber. So I can go like this, and there you go. As well as up here it says bumper. That's for the LED light bar on the bull bar. Oh yeah. Really happy about that one. I'm actually really happy. Oh look, it's working now. That is so weird. Must be a loose wire. Yeah, so I'm really happy how it turned out. Yeah, I needed to get this going. We got a camping trip coming up. We're going to be leaving tomorrow, and this needed to be done, and I got it done, which is super awesome. Okay. We'll see how this works. Hopefully it doesn't hurt the camera. Holy mac. That's a whole lot of lights. All right, so now we're in the back over here. There's something special I want to show you guys. I'm really proud of it. Anyway, so first things first, I still have one more panel to put back, but again, I'm going to do that when we get back from the trip. All right, so as you can see, there's a 12-volt plug right here, and then as well as dual USB plugs right there. Now, looking inside, as you can see, the inverter stays right there. The ground is right there, grounded to the body, which was the old spot for the jack. And then there's the positive cable right there with the negative cable. All right, so the way that I mounted this was actually I had to use screws. The glue wasn't exactly holding everything in there. So you can see there are 4 screws right there. It actually did pretty good. Try to get black. It worked out really nice. You don't really see it. The fact that I'm pointing out to you guys, you can see it, but really when you're in the truck, you don't notice it. Now for this hole, the cup cover or the cup holder cover that was in here is not going to work. Reason for that is of how high the inverter is. So the actual cup itself, the 2 cup holders that go right here, fit. There's room for it. But the tray part doesn't fit. So what I am going to do is I'm not going to cut that tray to fit in here because it'll end up being a hole anyways. So I'm going to look around for a 3D printing company, or maybe actually get a 3D printer myself. I don't know. I'll take a look at it. Replicate the cover that actually goes in here, but to create a shallower tray that goes here, so that way I have a cover. But for now, I'm okay. That's what I'm gonna have to deal with. All right, so now time to show you guys how I wanted it to work. Was everything here. So everything is actually inside this cover, make it nice and neat. Now what's really cool is this little piece right here that I installed. This, which I will now for the first time pull off the sticker. Oh, that's satisfying. Will give me, if I press and hold, it'll turn on. It'll give me my voltage. And it also, if I press the on button again, it'll give me my battery percentage. Now, I don't think this is going to be totally accurate, but at least it'll give me somewhat of an idea on how much my voltage is for my truck. So if I'm not using the inverter, if I'm just using the 12 volts that are there, at least I can keep an eye on it. Now, if I want to turn it off, press and hold it, and it turns off. Really cool. It's all touch, like touch screen type of thing, like soft touch. And I had to actually modify the body inside to make room in the back for this to go in there. But as I said, I'm really happy. I was really determined to put this in this spot right here. It's out of the way. It looks absolutely awesome. I love it. Now to get to open up the hatch for the inverter, there it is right there. And it's not just the inverter itself, but also a fuse panel. If I want to put for my 12 volt sockets, my USB, and also eventually what I'm going to end up doing is add another 12 volt plug over here, so that way I can run a fridge or something like that. It's going to be more of a heavier duty one. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. That fit really nicely inside. Like I said, everything is put away. That was the whole idea why I wanted to go this direction, was because I wanted to make it look like it was somewhat factory and neat and clean and tidy. So really happy on how that turned out. So everything on the truck has been put in. Really happy, really excited about tomorrow. So on that note, we'll see you at the next video. Until then, who knows? Maybe I'll see you out there.